What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined again by my dad Sean, and today, reactions to the classics, we're going to be taking a look at Bob Dylan's seminal 1975 record, Blood on the Tracks. This comes courtesy of a request from our patron Sean. Sean, thank you very much.
Yes, Sean, thank you. Great name, thank you.
You suggested Desire to us last month. It was really great, as was this record. So bring the hits with Dylan here. And if this is your first time stopping by the channel, we appreciate it. Here at Reactions to the Classics, we take a look back at some of the most classic albums of all time and do a detailed track-by-track review. And just like today, it's usually the first time we've heard the record. So that sounds like something interesting to you. Be sure to hit up that big red subscribe button, and you can also link up with us at our Facebook group, as well as check out our Patreon, just like Sean and many others are, to support us if you'd like to there. But let's just get into the quick fact.
Let's do it. It's Dylan's 15th studio album. It was released in January of 1975. Marks his return to Columbia Records, big label, number 16 on the Rolling Stones Top 500 Albums of All Time. This one's interesting. They had recorded everything in New York City. I know you're going to get to that in a minute. And then his brother David had heard it and convinced Bob at the last second, right before the album was going to come out, to re-record 5 of these songs in Minnesota. So 5 are from New York, 5 are from Minnesota. Many people view this as autobiographical. Bob came out in his memoir and said it was not, that it was based on a Russian writer's poems and stories. And who knows? His son Jakob said it's like when he listens to this record, it's like his parents are talking. So probably some truth to the autobiographical. Who knows? It proves for a powerful album, as I know we're going to get into. At this time, he was separated from Sara, and he was dating Ellen Bernstein, and he was spending some time with her in Minnesota, and that's where he wrote a lot of this album.
So Dylan started recording at the A&R recording studios in New York City in September of '74. That was the former Columbia Records Studio A, where Dylan had recorded 6 albums in the 60s. Musicians there noted that Dylan was very spontaneous in the recording. He would often do almost medley-like arrangement, going just from one song to another. Yeah. So that was unique there.
That brings us to the album opener, Tangled Up in Blue. Single went to number 31 in the U.S. It's number 68 on the Rolling Stone Top 500 Songs of All Time. According to novelist Ron Rosenbaum, Dylan once told him he'd written it after spending a weekend immersed in Joni Mitchell's 1971 album Blue, which kind of seems to make sense a little bit. Who knows? There's 7 verses, Trey, but they're not in order. In typical Dylan, like, he's going to do what he wants to do, right?
Non-linear.
Non-linear, man. So the first verse actually appears to probably be the 6th verse. The 7th verse is probably the final verse, and then 2 through 5 go in order of telling the story. What a wonderful track. And the word blue means something different at the end of every verse.
Oh, absolutely. This was just a phenomenal way to start off the record. Dylan noted that this took the song took 10 years to live and 2 years to write.
Right, yeah.
And essentially he's going through, he meets this girl, their paths cross, but they have to separate, and he hopes that one day their paths are going to cross again. Yeah. He ends up seeing her in a topless bar.
Yes.
And then we kind of rekindle the relationship. Then they become distant, and after the woman had to metaphorically sell everything she owned, he then had to do the only thing he knew how to, which was keep on keeping on like a bird that flew, tangled up in blue. I love the line at the end, we always did feel the same, we just saw it from a different point of view. Like, how often is that in relationships that end kind of amicably? Sometimes you just can't resolve those differences. Lovely musical tune as well with the harmonica at the end. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. That brings us right into Simple Twist of Fate, probably about a one-night stand, and he felt all alone after. I really like his vocal on this. He holds the notes. I think his voice sounds really good on this album in comparison to the time when he was really grinding out. I know he kind of grinded out all his career, but I thought on this song and one other, his voice sounds particularly strong. So I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, we had some great imagery here, just playing into that one-night stand theme. He wakes up and she's already gone. Yeah. Down the road. He wonders if he can go back down to where the sailors are and if she'll kind of pick him out again. He definitely put more emphasis on this meeting and night than she did, so I liked as well. We had the simple twist of fate line that kind of ended each verse, just like the Tangled Up in Blue.
Exactly.
He kind of comes back to that, so I enjoyed this one as well.
That brings us to You're a Big Girl Now. I'm taking from the lyrics, but I'm interested to see what you have to say about it. He probably had a convo with his ex-girl. She seems to be doing fine. I don't think he's doing so fine. Also a great vocal performance on this one. I think it just sounds so strong.
Yeah, we have some fantastic lines. I'm kind of in the same point that you are here. He notes that he like sees this bird that's singing at nobody's expense, and that's kind of how he feels whenever he's talking to this girl. He might be saying stuff, but she's not fully listening, and she's kind of content with moving on, essentially. And I think one of the main themes of the album can be summed up in one of the final lines in this track. It stops and starts like a corkscrew to my heart. Ever since we've been apart, twist you, get you right in the feels.
It does.
Again, we have a nice harmonica outro as well. Very good, just keeping up with the love theme in these first three tunes.
Yeah, now we're going to switch gears a little bit to Idiot Wind. It's 8 verses. It is a fantastic Dylan-esque story, talking about the perils of fame, talking about his relationship with Sara, we're assuming. And man, this song, and just when he sings Idiot Wind, it just sticks in my head. But a wonderful statement song. Yeah,
there's a lot of almost tongue-in-cheek ways that Dylan goes about this. I like that he notes that he in the first verse that he was lucky, yet in the lines before he was very calculating in how he went about his thing. He knows how people put him up on a pedestal, even though it's tough for anybody to live up to that. And just kind of the line in there about you're an idiot, babe, it's a wonder you know how to breathe. I like the you're an idiot and then saying babe, so kind of that sweet and sour.
And he even references himself towards the end as an idiot as well.
No, I like how that all, climaxes. He notes that they're both idiots, babe. It's a wonder we can even feed ourselves. As it keeps going, the relationship, boom, just deteriorates at the end. And, he has, again, a lot of lines that just reflect the pain that he's feeling. So a long tune, as you noted, but a very good one. So that's going to move us on to track number 5, and now the A-side with
You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go. That last track, Idiot Wind, was very long. This one's actually under 3 minutes. Who knows what this is about? A lot of people see it as confessional with his relationship with Sara. A couple publications called it the greatest love poem ever written. It could be about the literature he was talking about. So a lot of critical accolades for this song. I like it fine, but for me, it's my least favorite song on the A-side. What'd you think of it?
It's one of my favorite tracks on the record.
Okay, that's good.
I thought his vocals were on point here. He knows that I could stay with you forever and never realize the time. His previous lovers have never made him think like that, but now he's got one that if she does leave, oh man, it's really going to sting.
Yeah.
Make him lonesome. And vocals had a soothing effect. I thought it was a solid track. And then we start off the B-side.
With Meet Me in the Morning, it's more a blues song. Dylan sending his girlfriend on an unlikely Midwestern adventure. First, they meet up on an unknown street corner in the winter. Second, they escape to the middle of nowhere, Kansas, as winter turns slowly into springtime. He has struggled missing her. Not a bad tune either, Trevor. Once again, middle of the road, but there's some songs I really like on this album. What do you think of it?
Yeah, this would be my least favorite, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with you there.
Not that it was bad.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it just didn't really stand out to me. The blues arrangement, I enjoyed the pedal steel guitar in here, but it wasn't just blow away for me. But we did have some cool poetic lines at the end there. Look at the sun sinking like a ship. Ain't that just like my heart, babe, when you kissed my lips? So some good heartfelt lyrics as always that you expect with Dylan. And then we're going to move on to track number 7,
which is epic. It's Lily, Rosemary, and the Jack of Hearts. It's over 8 minutes long. There's tons of verses. There's a long list of characters. The inspiration behind several of them and the plot's been long disputed. Main character is a Jack of Hearts. He's a town leader of a gang of bank robbers. The major women in the song are Lily and Rosemary. Both are referred to in terms like a queen without a crown, and Lily was a princess. Rosemary is Big Jim's long-suffering wife who ultimately was executed for his murder. Lily is a dancer who is Big Jim's mistress and also a former lover of the Jack of Hearts. Trey, we also have the hanging judge in here. We don't know really who who committed the murder, but we know who was executed for it. For me, I like this song. I don't think it's like some sort of great musical thing. If you just turn this song on and listen to it, it's not going to catch in your head because it's an epic story. It's a Dylan-esque epic story, and for that reason it works for me.
Oh, definitely. I enjoyed the fact that there's some ambiguity at the end. All of it culminates. We don't know who exactly took out Big Jim, because
no, we don't.
As the song progresses, there's a bunch of different characters that could have done it and have reason to do it, and yeah, that Jack of Hearts just keeps appearing and kind of stealing everybody's eye. Even Big Jim is distracted at one verse in the song as he sees the Jack of Hearts. So interesting. This is about the only song that doesn't really fit in with the love motif.
I agree.
So a little interesting there, but maybe Dylan just wanted to give us a little breather, maybe from the love and heartbreak theme.
Or maybe you wanted to throw it back old school.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I was hanging on the next verse just to know what the story unfolded.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a bit of Desolation Road.
That's what I was thinking.
A bit more, rocking and upbeat, just with the surrealism and just all the cast of characters. So long one there, and then we move on to If You See Her, Say Hello. Here, a guy still has feelings for this lost lover.
Yes.
He wants to kind of put on that tough facade that he doesn't really care that she's gone, but you can tell by his words that he still wants her, hence the title, If You See Her, Say Hello.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. I thought it was ironic. Like, he's got to play the tough guy still a little bit, but he really wants to know how she's doing. A stripped back track. One of my favorites on the B-side. I think the A-side is absolutely banging. I think the B-side's not quite as good overall quality-wise, but really like this song and really like the next song. The Shelter from the Storm. It's 10 verses. It's epic. It's most likely about his troubled relationship with Sara, how at one time she was the shelter from the storm of all the craziness of his life and what life is like being a very famous person, the difficulty that is. I actually knew this song. It's the only song I knew. It was on a movie, Jerry Maguire. They took the first take from this recording, and that was what was used in Jerry Maguire. This is not the first take. It's a little different version, but not much different. I went back and listened to the one off Jerry Maguire. They sound very similar. This is my favorite song on the B-side. Maybe it's because I'm skewed because I knew it.
No, I thought it was a fantastic tune as well, and I do like that theme of it kind of progressed where she was the shelter from the storm in a really positive sense, and then when as the song goes on, he kind of just remembers, oh, she used to be kind of my shelter from the storm. Just wonderful vocal performance again by Bob here, and I just dug everything about it. And then we're going to end off the entire record with Buckets of Rain.
And on this one, there's only two instruments, the acoustic and bass guitars. Lyrically, it's really simple. There's only 5 verses addressing a lover. It tells of an average man's complete commitment to his lover. It tells her all the little things that endear her to him. Stripped back vocal. Nice way to finish off considering the theme of this album.
Oh yeah, and I like that it touched on the more non-glamorous parts of love, just the day-to-day, sometimes slog of life. He notes that friends are going to come and go, but he wants her around forever. He notes that life's kind of a lie, it's a bust, but he'll go through all of that junk if it means that he can be with her, and if he has her,
it's worth it.
Yeah, it encourages him to just keep on keeping on, and like you, I think it was a fitting way to end the record. And then that'll take us to our favorite tracks. For me, Shelter from the Storm's going to be there. I Tangled Up in Blue, and I'm going to also throw Idiot Wind in there.
Trey, you took all of mine. Those are my 3 favorites as well. We had not talked about it. That brings us to the overall score of the record. We have done a ton of Dylan stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, for me, I really enjoyed the record. I don't think I like it quite as much as some of the other records that we've heard.
I agree.
Especially the mid-60s rock trilogy.
I agree.
But still, I'm going to be at an 8.5 for this. I think that just the whole breakup aspect is something a lot of people can relate to that have been in relationships, and it's probably one of the reasons it's such an endearing record to so many Dylan fans and just music fans in general.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the earlier stuff we listened to him I liked better, but I mean that's a very high bar. One of those we gave a 10 to. Spoiler alert. You can check out our other Dylan reviews down below in the link. I'm going to give this a 9.0. This thing grew on me the more I listened to it. It is definitely different for Bob, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I think for him to be able to put this out all these years later from his quote peak of those 3 albums in that 14-month period really tells you something about just his absolute brilliance.
I totally agree, man. And let us know what you think of Blood on the Tracks down below. As always, Dad, appreciate the research. Appreciate you, Sean.
Definitely.
For, supporting the channel.
Definitely,
and,
thank you.
Always coming with the great suggestions, man. Really enjoy Dylan, always up for that. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And until next time, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Happy listening, my friends, and we will see ya.